President Trump, who I don't usually agree with, called COVID vaccines, quote, one of the greatest miracles in the history of modern-day medicine that saved tens of millions of lives worldwide. Scientific community agrees with Trump. Lancet study found that it prevented almost 20 million deaths during their first year of use. Secretary Kennedy, are President Trump and the medical community right, or do you still believe that the COVID vaccine was, quote, the deadliest vaccine ever made?
Think about that number for a moment. 20 million people who might not be alive today. That's not just a statistic. It's entire families still together, grandparents watching their grandchildren grow, parents still able to raise their kids, communities spared from grief. This fact alone reshaped the trajectory of the pandemic, preventing healthcare systems from collapsing and giving nations breathing room to recover. But here's where the debate becomes fascinating. Numbers are powerful, but they don't always tell the full story. The claim that vaccines saved tens of millions of lives is supported by large-scale models that use global data. These models look at infection rates, hospitalizations, and deaths before and after vaccines became widely available.
No, first of all, I didn't say that. I said that in terms of affairs reports a while ago. I said today, I think that President Trump should get the Nobel Prize.
So who's right? Is Trump in the medical community right, or are you right?
President Trump did an extraordinary piece of leadership.
Is he right or wrong? Did COVID save millions of lives?
As I said, he got Americans back to work. At that time, that particular vaccine was perfectly matched to the virus that was circulating then. And I have no idea how many lives it saved, but it saved quite a few.
You know, what I find a little bit weird in this discussion, I'm hearing it over and over again this morning, Mr. Chairman, is we've got the entire medical community on one side. You got the AMA representing hundreds of thousands of doctors, the American Academy of Pediatrics, the American Public Health Association. All of these organizations are telling us that COVID vaccine and vaccines in general are safe and effective. You are casting doubt on that. Who are the organizations that are agreeing with you and casting aspersions on vaccines?
The importance of this unity cannot be overstated. Medicine is rarely black and white. Doctors argue all the time, researchers debate findings, and medical studies are constantly being challenged or updated. Yet, when organizations of this size and reputation come together to say the same thing, it means that years of evidence, peer-reviewed research, and data analysis all point in one direction. That doesn't mean science is flawless, but it does mean the margin for error shrinks dramatically. Their endorsement of vaccines didn't appear overnight. It was built on decades of vaccine research, historical success in eradicating or controlling diseases like polio and measles, and rigorous testing that every COVID vaccine went through before approval. Still, in a debate, this fact becomes a lightning rod. Critics argue that just because a majority says something doesn't mean it's automatically true. They warn against what they call appeals to authority.
The primary advisors are Marty McCary, Jay Bhattacharya, Dr. Oz, Vinay Prasad.
So you got a few doctors who agree with you, and I'm giving you the
name. Not a few doctors. What you're talking about is there's a big difference, Senator, between established science and the scientific establishment, which has been co-opted by the pharmaceutical industry.
So you're telling the American people that the American Medical Association, representing hundreds of thousands of people, have been co-opted and that they should not trust their doctors.
And
the American Academy of Pediatrics, and by the way, just for the record, every single Republican, I don't mean to be political here, Mr. Chairman, has received PAC money from the pharmaceutical industry. Are they all corrupt as well?
This claim gains even more traction when it's combined with politics. It's no secret that pharmaceutical companies donate millions of dollars to both Republicans and Democrats, funding campaigns and lobbying lawmakers. Skeptics highlight this fact to argue that the medical consensus is less about science and more about financial interest. If every politician takes money from the same industry, the argument goes, how can we believe that policies, or even scientific recommendations, aren't influenced by those ties? That question doesn't require a scientific degree to understand. It's rooted in common sense and suspicion of power. But here's the counterpoint that keeps the debate alive. To say that the entire scientific establishment is corrupted ignores the reality of how science actually works. The American Medical Association, the American Academy of Pediatrics, the American Public Health Association. These groups are made up of thousands of individuals, doctors who treat patients daily, researchers who spend years running clinical trials, and specialists who dedicate their lives to preventing disease. To dismiss all of them as bought by pharmaceutical money oversimplifies a much more complex system. Science thrives on skepticism, but it also thrives on data, peer review, and transparency. And the data in the case of vaccines has been remarkably consistent across the globe, not just in countries where pharmaceutical lobbying is powerful. What makes this debate so gripping is the tension between these two realities. On one hand, the skepticism isn't coming out of thin air. It's rooted in genuine concerns about corporate influence, skyrocketing drug prices, and a system that often leaves patients feeling like profit comes first. On the other hand, dismissing the collective voice of the global medical community risks undermining trust in institutions that have historically saved lives and fought deadly diseases. Both sides have points that resonate with the public, which is why the discussion refuses to die down.
And I'm telling you, the American Heart Association has been co-opted by the food
Everybody
industry.
but you, Senator. But you know what? When you ran for president, we have a corrupt campaign finance system. Maybe you will agree with me on that. Okay, you were running for president, you got $1.5 billion behind it. You received $300,000 from people, not from the industry, people in it, as I did, from individuals. You corrupt. President Trump got $3 million. Every Republican got corporate PAC money for the pharmaceutical industry. Democrats as well. Everybody is corrupt, but you? Is that what we're looking at? I don't think so. And I think the issue now...
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Well, I think you do know what I'm talking about.
I don't know what you're talking about.
The issue is every time anyone disagrees with you...
Are you saying the pharmaceutical industry was supporting my presidential campaign?
No, I'm saying...
I don't think so.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that the pharmaceutical industry is a greedy institution which is charging us the highest prices in the world. They are pervasive. But to suggest that every institution, the AMA, the pediatrics people... is corrupt because they disagree with you is an insult to the American people.
Listen, people disagree with me all the time. I have arguments in my agency, heated arguments every day with Jay Bhattacharya, with Marty McCary, with Dr. Oz.
You have given the names of a few people. I have given you the names of organizations representing hundreds of thousands of doctors and scientists. I yield, Mr. President.
Senator Tillis.